Greetings, this is Colin Thompson. Welcome back to the latest episode in our COVID Coaches series. As usual, I'm very excited to be here sharing with you experiences, sharing with you tips. Tonight's episode is very important because I have a very intriguing announcement to make. I want to congratulate each and every one of you for graduating your COVID Experience One-on-One course. What do I mean by that? 14 weeks. 14 weeks is how long myself, the other coaches here, my family, people here in China have been going through our altered reality, altered life due to the COVID outbreak. 14 weeks. Most of you are probably hitting somewhere between, I would say, 4 weeks and 7 weeks. What that means is you now are sufficiently trained and know how to handle yourself during this period. That's very important because the fact that you've made it this far should give you the confidence to know that regardless of what happens tomorrow, you guys can make it. So what does it mean to be a graduate? To be a graduate means one thing, that this is the perfect time to do, which is the theme of today's episode, reflection. Reflection on what has taken place the first few weeks, and more importantly, using that reflection time to say now, how do I want to improve going forward? What accomplishments do I want to make during this time? And not only who can I help during this time, but also how can I make sure that my confidence remains high regardless of what takes place tomorrow? So again, let me congratulate each and every one of you for making it this far. We know that it's been a very challenging time. Yesterday we did a video and we were talking about how if we could go back and change something, and it made me think about the fact that here in China, we have almost 4 months, 3.5 months of experience, and how confident, as in some ways, lax that has made us be today. I think if you think about your time, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, think about that first week when you really were starting to feel the impact of the COVID coronavirus in your area. That could be your children at home from school. That could be you working at home now. That could be you frantically getting into your car and getting to the grocery store to try to buy everything up before it's too late. But if you think about your mindset at that time, if you think about what you were thinking about, compare that to your mindset now. I think there has been a shift, and that shift may be away from panic, more to, okay, here's how we're going to conduct ourselves in our household on a daily basis. And that is major, because what that means is you have come to terms with this new, I do not want to call this the new normal because it's not normal, but you have come to terms with the altered reality of what the corona epidemic outbreak restrictions have brought to us. So now, again, guys, now is the perfect time to try to do three things. Use this time to reflect on how you can make improvements, set some accomplishments that you want to accomplish during this time, and then have the big confidence to know that you made it this far. Hopefully, some of the worst times are already behind us, and knowing that you can make it tomorrow regardless of what happens. So you may or may not know that my background, well, I should say my previous life, I was on the corporate side. Loved it, learned a lot of things. In the corporate world, we had something that took place 4 times a year. At the end of each quarter, we'd have a quarterly review. At the end of the year, at the end of 3 quarters, we'd have a quarterly review. At the end of the year, we'd have our year-end review. What I'd like you guys to do now, and let me not use corporate terms. Let me not say month-end or 4-week review. Let me say, let's have our reflection period. We now want to take an opportunity again, to reflect and really dive into the first question in our reflection. Now, everything we're doing is to help us identify what we did wrong. I should say what we did wrong, what we could have done better. Okay, so here's the first question. Knowing what you know now, thinking back to your first 4 or 5 weeks, what would you have done differently? And this could be a wide range of things. I know 2 things popped out instantly for me. The first one, I actually gained weight the first 4 weeks because I was not, I love exercising outside. So I was not as active during that first week, the first 4 weeks. I was watching more TV. I was watching the news. I was eating more foods at home. I was really not motivated to do much the first 4 months. So I actually gained weight. So knowing what I know now, I would much rather have done more exercise. Also, what pops out is learning a new skill. I can tell you, I learned so much about how to how to position myself on a couch just so comfortably that I did not have to move for hours and could watch TV series after episode after episode after episode. I watched so many complete TV series the first 4 weeks. But looking back at that time, 5 weeks, I didn't learn much. So luckily, I decided after 4 weeks to do what? The same exact thing I'm asking you to do, advising you to do. Reflect. I reflected back and said, you know what? I have got to do some more exercise. I can't just gain weight and have my wife look at me cross-eyed, right? I can't do that. And I can't just watch TV and not be the hero in the household. So what did I do? Well, I started exercising a lot. And I'm proud to say that although I didn't lose any weight, I did not gain any weight. Okay, which is very important, right? Again, reflecting on knowing what you know now, what could you have done? Or what would you do differently? That could be spending more time talking with people. That could be getting up early, getting into a routine. I don't know what that is, but you do, right? So think about that. The first question, knowing what you know now, what would you or could you have done differently? Okay, the second one, who did you help during your time? So who have you helped during your time so far? And when I say helping comes in a lot of different ways. We know the very obvious way is we have people out there on the front line, the doctors, the nurses, the grocery store workers, anybody who's really outside still working, they're deemed essential. So we know they're helping. But you individually, who have you helped? And to give you some ideas on ways that you may have helped and not realized it, if somebody called you and said, hey man, I'm having a bad day, or somebody just want to talk, and all you do is listen. Just listen, and listen. You help them. And if you haven't done that yet, it's very easy to do. You can actually call somebody who you think is having a tough time and just listen. You can call somebody who's having a great time and listen, right? Also, I found it very, very, I'm going to send them on a guy, I say touching, but very touching, calling older aunts and uncles who may be by themselves right now, who may be a little concerned, calling your aunt and uncle or calling people who you know are by themselves or don't have a lot of positive relationships, calling them and just checking in on them every few days. Hey, just want to call, see how you're doing. Believe it or not, that's helping them tremendously because they do feel like somebody is looking out for them. I know I did this early and often, and people were even people who haven't talked to in a while, were very happy to know that somebody is thinking about them and checking in on them. So two very simple things that you can do. Okay, so that is who have you helped. Now, again, we're reflecting because we want to make improvements going forward. So whoever you helped, and I guess you know where that goes, right? That goes into who are you going to help going forward. So take everybody you helped already and double that because you probably helped them, naturally. But now if you make an effort to help people, you're going to help twice as many people. And yet, guys, people need help. People need help. They need assistance. They need distractions. You be that help. You be that assistance. And you be that distraction. Think about what kind of help or assistance you can use and provide that to somebody else. Okay? So think about who are you going to help going forward. Again, we're doing this wonderful job of improvements and setting accomplishments. Things you want to do, right? Things you would do different, goals you want to actually make. I remember to give one example of how we had some helping in my own family. My sister had just recently had a dose of or a chemo event. So as you know, with chemo, what it does to your body, you're very susceptible for catching anything. So she ran out of, she did not have enough of, she got concerned because she no longer had toilet paper. Right? She was out of toilet paper. And in WhatsApp, she put the call out. She said, hey, I don't have any toilet paper. And my big brother, within I think a few hours, dropped off from what I understand, a year's worth of toilet paper to her front door. Right? So that is a perfect example of how you can be helpful. But again, it doesn't have to be that overt. Little things, calling people, listening, checking on people who you know maybe by themselves. And also, if you have materials or supplies somebody can use, drop them off by the front door and leave. I think the social distancing, you shouldn't, be there, but drop it off, whatever you can to help. Okay. The second thing is, after you set these accomplishments, right? Accomplishments, what you want to learn, what you want to gain, and how you want to proactively have your household go. Because remember, the first few months, you were sort of wide-eyed and looking, reacting. But now you want to be more proactive and not react so much as control. Now, all of these things should have done a tremendous job to give you the confidence to know that, you're going to come out of this, however long this is, healthy and hopefully in a better place than when you started. If you recall, we had episode last week. We had Yale Fuentes, a brother from Spain and Dominican Republic. He was talking to us about some very easy exercises that you can do while at home and while you're watching TV. At the end of the video, I asked him to give us some departing words. And he said, guys, and I love this. I've been thinking about it ever since he said it. He said, guys, you don't want to come out of this period dumber and fatter, okay? So now you have the keys, right? You have the keys. And the keys are taking a notebook and a pen and sitting down and doing some reflections about 30 minutes to an hour and looking at what you would do, what you would have done differently. And of course, do that differently, right? Who can you help, right? Whose life can you make better? And guys, you're going to feel tremendous once you do that. And then what have you learned that's giving you the confidence to know that no matter what happens next, you are going to be able to go forward. Oh, that was a wonderful quote. I know that I'm coming out of this, I'm smarter. I'm coming out of this in better shape. But I also want to share with you a very touching moment. One of the I guess it's one of the most meaningful things that I've experienced over the last 10 weeks. And I look at this as I reflected, what was a moment that I found to be my favorite experience. And there were a lot of good experiences. And our kids, not my kids, but the neighborhood kids play outside together now. They never did that before. But they're home all day now, they talk now, they play. Great experience. Not my experience. My great experience, I gotta admit, we had a family Zoom call, okay? A family Zoom call maybe 2 weeks ago. Now, prior to this, you guys know I'm in China, so I get back to US once a year maybe. But we live in different parts of the country, so it's very rarely that all of my siblings and all of our nieces and nephews are in the same room. Very, very rarely. But on that call, we had all of my siblings. I have three sisters and two brothers, all of their kids. I have I have two nephews and about 13, 14 nieces. We had cousins on there. We had everybody except one nephew. And I got to tell you, it was so touching. And that really hit me because I had not seen everybody, and everybody gave a little update. It was very touching. But surprisingly, what this spawned, and it wasn't just my family doing this, but next thing you know, college friends, fraternity brothers, teammates from high school, teammates from college, everybody now is having their own little mini Zoom reunion. And if you haven't done that, I motivate you to try having a Zoom reunion. More importantly, if you do not have a most memorable, positive moment yet, guys, this is the time to start making those. This is definitely the time to start making those because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I can guarantee you what happens tomorrow is very similar with what happened yesterday. And you know how to master yesterday. So yes, you can master what takes place tomorrow. So again, guys, I hope you got today's message. As COVID coaches, if you follow the series, the first 15 or so episodes, we're really trying to give you a lot of lessons, things that you can do right now during this COVID period. But we've given you those lessons now. Now you know how to improve relationships. You know what to eat. You know how to communicate. You know how to filter the news that comes in. Now it's time for you to use what you learned on your own because you are now believe it or not, a COVID expert. This is a crash course, right? Crash course 101. But the 4, 5, 6 weeks you spent dealing with the restrictions, enjoying your family at home, enjoying having work at home, all of this have made you an experienced COVID, I say a COVID warrior. So now, knowing all of this, now you have the opportunity to be proactive and direct your course going forward. And I truly hope that once you've done your reflection, you do have accomplishments. What you want to accomplish by yourself and with your family. Also, you have the confidence to know that no matter what takes place tomorrow, you're going to make it through. And finally, I always say finally a lot. Finally, make sure you're building in memories that you can look back on and really make you feel proud and good. Okay, guys, this is Coach Colin Thompson, and we'll see you in our next episode. Bye-bye.